This podcast is not a substitute for a relationship with a mental health professional. Hey everyone, it is your girl, and it's that time again for the Mental Health is a Lifestyle podcast with Andrea Wise-Brown. And today we have a guest. We have a new guest, and hopefully I could call him my brother. Can I call you my brother?
Definitely can.
Okay. And this is Mr. CARLTON Young. And when I tell you he has a story to tell, he has a story to tell. And I believe that his story is going to create change continuously in the world. And so I am honored to have him here with us, family, so that he can share his story. Hey, CARLTON.
How you doing, Miss Andrea?
I'm doing well. So look, I want to start off by reading your bio. Okay. So that people, could get a snippet.
Say know who this CY
Come
guy
on.
is.
So they could know who you are. Okay. So here we go. So this is from CARLTON Young. He says, I am a man of resilience, strength, and unwavering spirit. I am a kingdom man who wears many hats. I'm a son, husband, father, friend, and proud member of the Bros, OMEGA PSI PHI. And literally, y'all, he spelled it like the Bros. Okay, that must be a whole thing.
That's the Bros thing.
Okay, that's a whole thing. Okay, all right, okay. He says, I'm not just a survivor, I'm also a victor. Having overcome the aftermath of a gunshot wound to the stomach at point blank range and the self-inflicted wounds of my past, I hope to embody the power of resilience and transformation. My daily mantra is, stop talking tough and living weak. That's dope.
Thank you.
That's dope. Okay, which reflects my commitment to being authentically CARLTON and living my life moving in God's purpose. So now, y'all, this is rooted in the principles of Genesis 1:28. I strive to leave a positive impact on the world around me, embracing his roles with passion and dedication. That's so dope.
Thank you.
That is so dope. Okay, so obviously you came up with this on your own.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay, that's pretty cool. Okay, CARLTON. So first, I want to put out there, because I always like you guys to know the why and the how I got here, why we are here. And so you know that we just did this men's series of helping men heal. And while doing the series, I reached out to my brother. I call him my brother, BJ. And so when I reached out to BJ about getting the series out there, he immediately said to me, I love what you're doing, but you need to meet this brother. He said, this brother also has a podcast, and we're going to leave them with that, right? Because I want them to come over there and listen to you too, as I have. But he said, not only does he have a podcast, but like, y'all just got to get together, because he said his energy is amazing. He's a good guy, and you need to hear his story. So this is why CARLTON is here today. I reached out, and thank God you was receptive, and you said, yeah, I'll do it.
Most definitely. When God opens the door, you got to walk through.
I know that's right. Okay, CARLTON. So, and this is the thing, y'all. I'm learning this story just like y'all are, because I listened to two of the podcasts, and I didn't get the whole thing. I just kind of got snippets of it. Right. So I don't know if you've actually given it all yet.
I've given it all here and there, but we can jump off the deep end, and I'll give you the totality of CARLTON Young and how I got to this point in my life.
Yes.
From where I started. So if we would start back all the way at the beginning.
Please.
What you have is a baby born to a teenage mother, 19 years old. her boyfriend at the time, I don't know what you want to call it, eventually had two women pregnant at the same time. When my mother had me, she was thinking that this was her boyfriend, and she called the house, and his mom said, I'm not going to mention his name, but she said, so-and-so is married now. You probably don't want to call here anymore.
To your mother?
To my mom. So now here you got a teenage mother, 19 years old, trying to figure out her life as well.
Right. And she had already had you, right?
Right. She had just, I was born. Okay. And she was thinking that this is going to be the person I'm with or what have you. And that rug was pulled out from under her. So she's at the crossword wondering where I'm gonna go, what I'm gonna do. We were living with my grandmother and my two uncles and my aunt. And so it was my grandmother, my granddad, and my mom and her two brothers and one sister. Mom was working, found a job, start working. One thing is, like, I don't look anything like my family. My father, my biological father, is light skinned. Okay. Most of my family is darker complected, medium complected. Oh. So as I'm growing up, it's like already that piece of
tension. Is it tension?
It's not tension. It's like I don't look like anybody in my family.
So is it feeling like I don't belong?
Yeah, like I don't belong here. Like, am I supposed to be here?
Right.
Fortunately for my mom, she met a man that I called my father until he passed away. God rest his soul. And she married him when I was 4 years old. We moved from Birmingham, Alabama. We moved to Florida. He was in the military. But throughout this whole process, right, yes, like my mom used to say when I was, 2-3 years old, like, where's my dad? Why does everybody else have a dad? I don't have a dad. Just asking like inquisitive questions. And she said, well, I'm gonna find you a father. So again, she married him. He was a great guy. Still, I didn't look anything like him either. So, we moved, and also, moved from my family to a military installation with a bunch of kids that don't look anything like I grew up. I grew up in a place that was predominantly black. Okay. Probably 80% black, 90% black. We go to Eglin Air Force Base in Florida. I don't look like, I've never been around kids, and it's just like, like when you move from somewhere, it's like the shock of a culture shock.
Yes. So wait, but you got to tell us, what did they look like? So what was the difference? Because I got in your family, they were darker skinned. So you light skinned. You're like, okay, I don't fit in here. However, when y'all went to move with your stepfather, yeah, you said that you didn't look the same. So what did they look like? Who were these people?
Now you're moving into like all race and all ethnicities.
I got you.
Right. And so I just was just like a bad kid because I really just didn't know where I fit in. Okay. I always felt different. I used to get in so much trouble. My mom would stay having to come up to the school, getting called to the principal's office, getting whoopings from my dad and my stepdad. I call him my dad. I don't even call him my stepdad. Okay. Because he actually adopted me. My mom. And it, this is like all through my childhood and up to my teenage years. And it got to the point where I used to get in so much trouble that my mom didn't know what to do with me. So she couldn't whoop me because that didn't do anything. Okay. Putting me in my room didn't do anything. She actually would start making me write book reports on books that she would make me read. And honestly, that ended up paying off now.
In the long run. Yeah. Okay, but wait, hold on. Before you jump to there, right? Because I want to know. So what did the other kids look like? So you're saying they were, I don't know, white, Asian, that's what I'm
Hispanic,
saying. Okay, multicultural.
Multicultural. So I come from a primarily dominant black community to a multicultural community where there's a little bit more discipline, a little bit more guidance, and then so from Florida we moved to Germany. Okay. From Germany we go to Great Falls, Montana.
So yeah, that sounds like a culture shock.
Yeah.
Double.
Yeah, so it's like you get a little used to your surroundings and maybe start to fit in, then you get uprooted and you move somewhere else.
Someplace else.
And then you do the same thing for 4 years and then you move somewhere else. So this is, elementary, middle school, going into high school, and then before my ninth grade year, my dad retired and we moved back to Birmingham.
Back to Birmingham.
So I go from that to this. And now I speak proper English because I've been around the country. I've been
Yes.
around the world.
Been
I have a little
exposed.
bit of, a little bit different vantage point of life. And so then I get back in that scenario, and now they mess with me because you talk different, you dress different, because I was dressing like where I was at,
Right.
what
That's
was in
right.
style. So then I
Right.
dealt with that, trying to navigate that space. So it was always me trying to figure out who I was, where I belong, and what
Mm.
who I was supposed to be. And what would happen is I would find myself not being my authentic self
Mm.
because I didn't know who I was,
Right.
and then I didn't know how I fit into every environment that I was dropped in.
Oh, that's so good. And I just want to say this. That's so good. And it's so good that you're aware of that, because what happens is when you're developing as a child,
Mm-hmm.
that's when you start to kind of learn who you are. But that comes from stability,
Mm-hmm.
right? So being stable. And what you just talked about is from a child up to what, 4 years old. First of all, you feeling like you were unstable, even
Mm-hmm.
though there was a house full of people,
Mm-hmm.
but there was still probably not a lot of attention on you. A lot of,
Mm-hmm.
people do, our parents do the best that they know
Yep.
how to
Yep.
do,
And that's
right?
exactly it.
That's right. So we know that they do the best that they know how. However, there were a lot of needs
Mm-hmm.
that you didn't get, right?
Right.
And your mom was just trying to survive because she
Mm-hmm.
was a child herself.
Yep.
Yeah. So then, that's how we don't really form an identity.
Mm-hmm.
So you like who you didn't even know how to
Yeah.
start
Who
because
am
it
I?
comes from stability.
Right.
That's right.
Right.
Wow. And so now you moved in one place. So you're like, okay, who am I here? Then you get uprooted, moved someplace else. And then it sounds like you had to do a lot of fighting.
Yeah.
Because is
Yeah.
that why you were getting in trouble in
Yeah. I was
Germany?
just a
And
lot of fighting, and then also just trying to fit in, right? Because well, if I move like they move, then maybe they'll accept me for who
mm,
I am. So it was either like you fight, I was fighting because I didn't look like everybody, or I'm one of two or three uh black folks in the area,
yeah, yeah.
so had to fight for that. Or again, it's like, well, let me fit in and let me go over here and do what they're doing, and that's gonna cause me to get in trouble.
I got
So
you.
it's like I'm trying to figure out how to placate everybody and how to
Mm,
appease everybody, losing self in order to fit in.
yeah. In
But
order to find self.
yep, yep.
Right. Which
Well,
that ain't the way to do it, but
exactly. Right.
right.
100.
But that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So then you end up back in Birmingham. Now, I just want to know. So at what age? You said 9. Did
No,
you?
we moved back when I was going to my freshman year in high school. So it was about what, 13, 14?
Okay, so 13 to 14. Now, had you gotten in any big trouble living outside of the States?
Yeah, I got in some trouble
Like
in
with the police?
yeah, like with the military police. One time, me and my couple friends of mine took his dad's car and went on a joyride. We snuck out of my parents' house. All of us did. Crawled out the window when everybody was asleep. Went joyriding, and I don't even know. We didn't get caught that night, but
Uh-huh.
some kind of way it got back to them. So we got in trouble behind that. And we literally had to go before like the military police. We had to go through that court and all that stuff as well. So that was one thing. Is and I can say this about my dad.
Yeah.
He never would say, you need to get your son or that. I never heard him say it. And when I talk to my mom now, she said he never said that to me.
Really?
Yeah. So
Yeah, like push you off.
right.
Push you off, like
Right.
telling her, yeah, like you was creating,
Yeah.
I guess pain or hurt for him.
Yeah.
And so to distance himself from you.
Right.
He
No, he
never
never
did
did
that.
that.
He
And
always owned you.
yeah, and I literally got him called to the carpet behind that incident. If you understand what that means. So he had to
Yeah, well,
deal
I'm sure he got in trouble, right?
yeah. He didn't get like reprimanded, but they pretty much, had to they kind of forced him to retire because of
Really?
yeah.
Wow, how'd that make you feel?
At that time I really didn't understand what I had done,
Oh,
right?
that's
I'm still only,
good.
I knew it was wrong, right?
Right.
But I didn't know the repercussions of what I had sown.
I got you. Yeah. I just want to say this too. This is good. And then we'll go back to Birmingham. But when we were doing our men's series, right? What we as women learned, and I just learned this from my practice, is a lot of times that men aren't socialized. Like it's not okay for you really to tap into feeling anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times men, even though when I just ask you, how did that make you feel? You like, I don't even know. Cause most times men don't even know how
Right.
you feel. You just keep on moving.
Mm-hmm.
You just make it make sense, and then you just keep on moving.
Mm-hmm.
So that was interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so now y'all in Birmingham.
So we're back in Birmingham.
Uh-huh.
You know, again, now I'm kind of getting back acclimatized to that predominantly Black. The fortunate thing for me is I played sports, so I was pretty good at sports.
Okay.
So I still kind of was able to fit in to a certain degree.
Okay.
But again, I still didn't talk like people from Birmingham, Alabama. I had a
Right.
more of a proper tone to I enunciated my words. So I would
Okay.
get, picked at behind that. I got in several fights as well as that because, when you get, people would test you, right? And, back in that era, Black people can resonate. Black folks probably understand this.
Uh-huh.
You light skinned, you soft. So I had to show you I wasn't soft.
It's that Drake thing.
Yeah.
It's that Drake.
So now I'm, trying to be whatever. But, again, it's just a constant journey of evolution of who am I? I'm here now. I've kind of figured this out. Now I'm here. And so it was just, and also I can say this,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm fine with being fully transparent about this.
Good.
I never really understood because I buried the feelings of never seeing my biological father. And I would tell myself, forget him. That's his loss. I don't care. Blah, blah, blah. But as I look back through my life and then I started going through counseling, I understand what I was doing, why I was doing it, because it was I buried it and it was a coping mechanism. So the way that I would act and respond to things was initially predicated on that rejection that I experienced at an early age.
That's so good. That's so good, Carlton. Yes. Because a lot of people do think that, because that parent is absent, oh, that doesn't mean anything because we just keep going on and moving through life. But it actually does affect you and your sense of self and esteem, right?
Yep.
Because what builds your esteem is when you have your first caretakers here and present, because that makes you feel like you're worthy.
Right.
So when one is gone, then that in some ways make you feel like there's a part of you that's saying that you weren't worthy of them staying.
Yep.
Yeah. So being angry, being hurt first, which then came out, the action is anger.
Yep.
Right? That's a secondary reaction, a secondary feeling is anger. Yeah, to the hurt of being abandoned.
Yep.
Wow, that's good.
And so that abandonment issues often cause you to try to compensate with other people and allow your boundaries not to be what they need to be because you don't want to let them get close, or you feel a kinship to them and you don't want them to abandon you because you're not moving in a way that edifies them. And so you feel like if I do X, which I know I need to be doing, they're going to leave me. And so now I'm abandoned again.
Oh, that's so good. Yeah. So I need to be good enough. Like I need to be whatever they want me to be. I need to be whatever they want me to be. Right. Because I wasn't enough just being me because he left.
Exactly.
Oh, that's so freaking good. That's good that you got that. Okay. So yeah. So tell us. Yeah. Okay. So now you back and now you fighting because you fighting light skin.
Yep.
Yeah, you doing all that right. You playing sports. Okay. So now you back your mom and your dad, and this is your stepdad.
Yep.
Okay. Do we even know where your biological dad is?
He was in that same city.
In Birmingham.
Yes. Yeah. And the crazy, he would walk up to me today.
Yes.
I wouldn't know him. The only reason I would possibly know he was my father is because they say my mom says I look just like him. But I never ever seen him we lived in Birmingham about 8 or 9 years of my childhood.
Yeah.
Before, we military, and then we moved to Huntsville, which was like an hour and a half from Birmingham going into my junior year.
Okay.
But I never saw that guy. And I know he's deceased now. And it is what it is at this point. You know what I mean? I have to forgive him because me harboring anything against him is blocking whatever God wants to get to me.
That's good.
And so I want to release this and share this story with other people so they understand and they know that God shapes your life for a reason.
Come on now.
How you respond to what you were placed in is totally on you. Right? If I die if I was born poor,
Yes.
that's on my situation.
Okay.
If I die poor,
Uh-huh.
that's on me.
Oh, I like it.
So if I die in the same situation that I was born in,
yeah.
that's nobody's fault but mine. And so once I learned to like take control of my narrative
Accountability.
and to be accountable for my actions and understand that everything that I do is dependent on my mindset, what I believe about myself. And the beautiful thing about this is, and we'll go back to the story I know, but I learned, like, people talk about affirmations.
Yes.
But the Bible is full of affirmations. When he tells you that you are fearfully and wonderfully made.
Yes.
When he tells you that you are the head and not the tail.
Come
he
on
tells
now.
you are the lender, you are the lender and not the borrower. And that you can do exceedingly abundantly above all things that you can ask, think, or imagine through Christ Jesus. And he tells you that you're more than a conqueror. So those are the things that carry me through, because I know this. Anytime the devil will get in my mind and tell me I couldn't do something, you have to understand that the devil is a liar.
Yes.
And the truth ain't in him.
Yes.
So if he's telling you that you can't do something, he's lying to you, because he knows you can.
Yes.
He's not going to tell you who you can truthfully be.
Yes.
He's going to tell you who you can't be, because he can't stop anything that God has placed in me, but he can stop me from getting to a point where I can release it to the world.
Oh, that's so good.
So you have to take control of your mind. You have to take control of your narrative. You just have to understand, like, I'm not gonna die the way I was born. I'm not going to the graveyard, which is the richest place on earth, with no unfulfilled dreams, not fulfilling my promise, and not even just getting to what God has promised me.
Yes.
We all have like promises that God put inside of us.
Yes.
And once we learn to deal with our demons, because if you don't deal with your demons and your trauma and demons are going to deal with you, and you're going to find relief in people, places, and things. And that's what I used to do a lot.
Oh, that's so
like,
good.
Chasing women, thinking that this validated me.
Yes.
And it actually deterred me from who I needed to be.
Come on now. Yes. Yes, that's so good. Okay. So please. So come on, let's go back to Birmingham.
Okay, we're going back.
This is so good. Yeah, so let's go back to Birmingham. Okay, so now you back and you in ninth grade.
I'm in ninth grade.
Okay.
So, we're there for 2 more years, right? My dad is he's working at the VA, but he's working on getting on with the post office. The best opportunity for him to get on with the post office was in Huntsville, which is like an hour and a half, about 80-mile drive. So I was in Birmingham. I went to West End High School. Shout out West End. West End Lions, West End, Alabama. Y'all stand up.
Okay.
We stayed there my freshman and sophomore year. After my sophomore year, my dad got the job at the post office. Okay. And we moved to Huntsville, Alabama. So I'm changing again. So my junior and senior year, I go to J.O. Johnson in Huntsville, Alabama, which was a pretty good school.
Okay.
My last 2 years. So now I'm trying to fit back in and find things. But I started to kind of level out, and, I wasn't as bad because I had like sports to kind of keep me preoccupied.
Okay, that's good.
I found a group of friends. I still got my best friend. He's actually my fraternity brother too.
Nice.
We've been friends since our junior year. My first day of class, we met in typing class.
Okay.
His name is Chris Cummins. He's probably going to be watching this.
Okay.
Root to the bros.
Okay.
But we became friends, and we've been friends ever since. So I kind of, found a circle of people to hang with, and then I had sports.
And they were more posive, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Like my mom, every time I talk to her, she's literally like, I praise God that I met John Young and he got you out of Birmingham, Alabama. Because Birmingham is just, Birmingham's been was on the first 48 when first 48 was on.
Oh, was it really?
It's that type of place, right? People think you from this city or that city. Every hood everywhere is the same, right? You got the same things going on. And so Birmingham is the same thing. It's people getting shot, people getting killed, drugs. It's just the whole nine.
Got you. Okay. All right. So then, so you there, you have a good circle. You found you a new circle, but yet you moved again. But you found you a new circle. You got acclimated. Now you in school and you doing well. Let me just ask you this before you go a little bit further. Do you have siblings? Because it sounds like it's just you and your mom.
Well, it's just me and my mom now. I had a little sister.
Right.
Her name is Andrea as well.
Okay, so come on, Andrea.
She was 7 years younger than me, so she was my dad. Her and my mom my mom and my dad, that
Had
was, their child together.
okay.
So she was my little baby sister, my only sibling.
Okay.
So we grew up, but I still had there was an age gap between us, right?
Absolutely.
So, we were very close, for big brother and big sister, but we
Right.
still had that age gap.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
so, that's another part of the story. She died in 2012 of unexpected brain aneurysm.
Wow.
So it's basically, my dad died in 2000 of a blood clot. He broke his foot in the
Wait,
blood.
wait. Your stepdad.
Yes.
Okay, say that one more time.
He died in 2000 of a blood clot that moved up to his heart from a broken foot at work.
Lord.
He died August 6th, 2000. See, and I'll never forget that date because my sons, my twin boys, they're 23 now, Alan and Armand, they were born August 16th, 2000. So he died 2 weeks before they were born.
Oh my God.
And, so that's a whole nother story. We we could probably do about 4 or 5 episodes because, just the dealing with the pain of that, going through that with my mom, right? And seeing how that impacted her, and she literally was in a state of depression for years.
I'm sure.
And so, and then when we got her out of that, my sister unexpectedly dies of an aneurysm. And I don't fit that gate. That the dates are so etched in my head, is crazy. And here's the crazy thing, Andrea. If what the enemy had planned for my life would have happened, me, my sister, and my dad would not be here. Because I know we'll talk about me getting shot at point blank range.
Yes.
In January 15, 1995. So that would have been 95. I would have passed. My dad would have passed in 2000. My sister would have been 2012, and it would just been my mom.
Oh my God.
So we got a story where they say, you don't know my story. And so oftentimes when I look at somebody who is starting to flourish in life, or they're flourishing in life, I'm happy for them because I don't know what they went through on the back end. And I couldn't have worn them shoes, right? I couldn't have walked them out in them shoes.
Yes.
Because that whatever God has placed on their life, that anointing, that glory, whatever, you don't want that, right? And so my story, I think I carry it pretty well. And I've just now gotten to the point where I'm okay talking about it. But it ain't been no crystal stair.
No way. Okay, hold on. So we were in Birmingham, right? And I'm so sorry to hear about your father and your sister passing. Lord have mercy. But then you say even before that, right? Because I don't want to skip that. So from being in Birmingham with the new people and your new friends, and you're doing well. So, okay, how do you end up in a situation where you almost gonna get shot in your stomach?
Okay.
Or did you get shot?
I got shot in the stomach. I have what the gangbangers call a zipper.
Okay.
That thing right there, they call that a zipper.
Oh, they call it a zipper.
Yeah, I just found it out recently from somebody.
Okay.
But so I ended up going to the military. I left. I went to Alabama A&M after I graduated.
Okay.
Stayed there for a couple of years. I ended up leaving and going to the military.
Wait, I just need to ask this quickly. So what made you, right, go to college?
It's just what we did, right?
Okay.
It's
like, because other guys, right, your age at that time would have chosen to do something different, maybe gangbang. So, okay, you know what though? Maybe it came from what you just said. You said earlier, you said that you were playing sports, and now you had this new cohort, and so maybe that was a norm.
Yeah, that was a norm. So, like most people, when we moved to Huntsville, the school J.O. Johnson that I graduated from is literally about a 5 to 7 minute ride from that high school. So we would go up to campus and hang out and things of that nature. So and I started working my junior year. I met this dude, and he's actually my fraternity brother now.
Okay.
His name is Lee Ivory, and that's how I first learned about OMEGA PSI PHI Fraternity Incorporated. And so what I saw about him kind of intrigued me. And so he would talk to me. He's like, well, you got to go to college to do X, Y, Z. And so mostly, maybe a third of the people that went to the school there migrated to A&M. Maybe some of them migrated to Tuskegee. You have Alabama State.
Okay.
So there's a couple, HBCUs in that area that people migrated to, and a couple went other places. But that was like the closest thing to do. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And so I was like, I'm working a fast food job. I know I don't want to do this the rest of my life.
Okay.
Well, I guess I should go to college like everybody else. So I go to college for a couple years.
Okay.
And it was fun. I had a good time, but I wasn't focused like I needed to be. That's how I ended up going to the military.
Mm.
And so I go to the military, go to Germany for a while, have a good time there. In
Oh,
the
and go back to
yeah,
Germany.
I go back to Germany.
Okay.
So I went
Okay.
back to Germany for 3 more years.
Uh-huh.
Go out to California, go to California, have a great time out there.
A great time in
Great time,
California.
man. I enjoyed
Why was it
myself.
so great in California?
It's just,
Let us
you're
know.
22 years old, you're out in Cali and you're from Alabama and you think like this is the life because this is what you see on TV, right?
Okay.
So we got to experience, California life. We would, be in LA, we would be in Oakland. We would just be up and down the streets and literally, I don't forget about it, but I don't talk about it much. I literally was in a near fatal accident coming from a nightclub in San Jose going back to base. My friend of mine was supposed to be the designated driver,
Uh-huh.
and I guess he wasn't. And
Okay.
so it was me, him, and my boy Hall. There's the boy named Hall, and then the dude, the driver, his name was Israel.
Okay.
He runs into the back of a semi at like 3 o'clock in the morning because we're headed back to Fort Ord. Literally, this is crazy. I remember going to sleep in the back of his car, and I literally thought I woke up dead because they had pulled me out the car.
Oh my God.
And we had been drinking, doing what young folks do, and they
yeah.
literally were shining like a light in my face.
And
And
that's what
so,
woke you up.
yeah, that's what woke me up. And I'm like, where am I at? I'm thinking, you
You
hear
thinking
about the
it's
light.
Jesus? You think
Yeah.
it's Jesus?
I'm like, oh my God. And so we look at, but that like literally the top of that car was like, it was smashed in like it was at the junkyard. But me not being
Lord.
wise enough or what's the word I want to use? I just say not wise enough to understand the signs, the context clues.
Okay.
I just went on about my business. Like ain't nothing happened. And they took us to the hospital, got out that same day. Shoot, that same night we was in the club.
Lord have mercy. No
but
way.
you're 21, 22 years old. What do you
I got you. I'm just thinking about your neck and your back.
Yeah.
But I guess that wasn't. And you had played sports and stuff, so maybe that just wasn't. You just shook it off.
Yeah, I just shook it off at that point. And I could say, I'm still here because of the prayers of my grandmother, the prayers of my mom and my dad and my family, because they did set the basis for the foundation.
Yes.
They were, a spiritual family. Just like any other families, they have their problems. And, I often say when people talk about how their families are, I mean, if you look at the Bible, in the Old Testament, their families is messed up. Look at Abraham, Isaac. You look at, Jacob and Esau. You look at Joseph and his brothers. Like the acrimony was already there, so there's nothing that's changed. Just the time frame and where we're at. Like, but it's been the same thing. But they prayed for me. So I go from that.
Yes.
They closed Fort Ord down. That's where I was at, and they ship us to Fort Hood, Texas. That's where I ended up going.
Oh, hey family. Come on over here because I have something for you. Starting off with a go-to guide for keeping your minds healthy and strong. This right here is the Bible to mental health. It's your mental health Bible. The name of it is 6 Pillars to Power Up Your Mind and Make Mental Health a Lifestyle. Everything that you need to know about keeping your minds healthy and strong is in this go-to guide. Where you get it from? Well, you get it from awisebrown.com/shop. But in this go-to guide, honey, in this mental health Bible, you know what you're going to find out? You're going to find out the benefits of aromatherapy, and how it can shift your mood. But guess what? You don't have to go any place else to look for your aromatherapy because your girls got you, okay? You can get some aromatherapy here. This is aromatherapy is in this candle. This is called a slice of happiness. It makes me tingle, like literally makes me tingle. A slice of happiness. This is a cruelty-free candle with no parabens, no formaldehyde, and no known suspected carcinogenics. Now, you go out here and you find these candles that smell good, but are they good for you? Are they good for your brain? Come on now, get real with yourself. Well, this one smells delicious. and it's good for you. Made with essential oils. It's a soy candle. Amazing. Uh, you can burn it or you can just walk by and smell it. Lord have mercy, it's so good. Okay, so that's your candle, your aromatherapy, which raises the dopamine in your brain. That's your natural feel good neurotransmitters in your brain. All right, y'all. And oh, I'm a part of you, you're a part of me. We are a family. We got hoodies now, and these are unisex hoodies, and they wear well, they wash well, and they feel so good. So you can wear them over your clothes, you know what I'm saying, and look dope, or you can wear them as your clothes with nothing under them, which I like to do often. And when you travel everywhere, I mean, every time I wear them, I'm moving around. People are always asking me whether I'm traveling, going to the supermarket. What's that? Who's that? And I'm like, mental health is a lifestyle. Because see, this is on the back. Okay? They come in white and they come in black. I'm like, join the family. Mental health is a lifestyle podcast. So there you go. Family, don't you ever say that I ain't give you nothing. You get all of these things from awisebrown.com/shop. All right? I got your goods. I got you. You don't have to go anyplace else. I'll see you on the other side.
So I go to Fort Hood, Texas. Wrong place, wrong time, doing the wrong things, and basically got shot.
How you can't nothing call
I
you
mean,
can't.
you when you be doing the wrong things
I
and being at the
understand when
wrong
you're
place,
doing the wrong things.
and you
Okay.
sometimes you just be in the wrong place, right? Right? You be in situations or you be doing things that you know you shouldn't be doing,
Okay.
and you're doing them, and then
Yes.
sometimes there's a repercussion to what you're doing.
Absolutely. There's always a repercussion,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Even if you may not get it right in that moment,
Mm-hmm.
but we will get it, right? All
Yep.
the energy we put out, we gonna receive it,
Mm-hmm.
right? I get that. But you can't just leave us with I was doing the wrong thing and then I got shot. I got shot.
So basically, it was a scenario where some things were happening,
Okay.
and guy had a gun,
Okay.
and he pointed it at me, and I'm like, bro, you better not point that gun at me again. And we had some,
Did you have friends with you?
yeah, it was me and a couple of my friends,
Okay.
and
You told them don't point that gun at
yeah,
you.
and no sooner than I did that, I heard pow, and next thing I know, that's like, bro, you shot me. Got hit in the stomach, and it was like somebody took like a fireplace poker and heated it up and stuck it in my stomach. And so,
It felt hot.
yeah, it felt hot, but it's like a delayed reaction. You don't feel it at first, and then it's like, oh my God. And so it's just like a burning sensation,
Lord have
and
mercy.
just like excruciating pain. Like I would never wish that on my worst enemy. No,
Really?
I wouldn't. Like that's like one of the worst things in the way to go. So I often have when I hear people die from a gunshot wound or die from, got shot, multiple times, just the amount of excruciating pain that I know that person dealt with
Experience.
before they, transition, unless it was instantaneous, it resonates with me. So basically, the ambulance came.
Okay.
Last thing I remember I had on some black jabots.
Okay.
I had on a Dallas Stars hockey jersey. I remember my people trying to keep me awake because I'm like, bro, I just want to close my eyes and
You
go to
can
sleep.
remember this.
Yeah, I can remember that. I remember that, just wanting to close my eyes and go to sleep. I remember the ambulance coming. They put me on the gurney,
Uh-huh.
pulling me into the ambulance.
Uh-huh.
I remember them cutting the jersey off me and then placing the oxygen mask on me. And then the next thing I remember is waking up in the hospital, maybe several days later, with IVs, and I still actually got like things from the IVs in me, like little markings, and I got like this scar here, and I have another scar where they had to go and remove a blood clot from my lung. They had to go back in and remove the blood clot. And I remember waking up. I remember my father being right there with his Bible and just a couple of people, around. And I remember it looked like my dad was saying a prayer in the room or something like to that extent. And that's what I remember waking up. I had like morphine on demand where I could just
Push it.
I would shoot myself up when the pain got too excruciating. They of course they controlled how much the dosage was and when I
Right.
could do it, but I remember all that. And so I was in the hospital for about a month.
Oh my gosh. Okay. In your stomach.
Yep. I literally got. Here's the thing though. The doctor said that I don't know which directionality the bullet could have went, but if it would have went like whatever direction, like he said, it was literally centimeters, it would actually hit my aorta, and I would have instantly died because I would have bled out. And literally, what it did is it ended up, I guess, bouncing around in there. I had a liver, it lacerated my liver, which actually, this is how great God is.
Come on now, God.
That the liver actually can repair itself. So that was one of the only things that's damaged. I actually still have the bullet lodged in me because it's too close to my spine, and they didn't want to. Yes. So when I go get an X-ray, they'll see it in there. But it's very close to my spine, so they didn't want to operate for fear of paralysis.
Right.
So if anything would go wrong, I could possibly be paralyzed from that surgery. So I got those reminders, consistently there for me to, be mindful of. I'm here.
Yes.
Now that's for anybody that whatever you've gone through, no matter what it is, if you're still here, you're here for a purpose.
Yes.
You're here for a reason. God is not going to allow you to go through what you go through for just for happenstance. Yes. It's for a reason. What you have to do is figure out what that reason is, tap into it. It's mostly good. Tap into who God wants you to be, like be the man for me. And so like one thing I like to do is try to galvanize men to us to understand who we are, what we're supposed to be, equip them with the tools to do the things that they're supposed to be, so we can go out and we can change our homes, our communities, the world. Like that's what we're supposed to be doing. Like we're supposed to be leading, not following or just allowing. We should be in our plane, in our place, in our lane, doing what we're doing. So that I think that's part of my purpose. Is God left me here for that reason, to get to this point where I can do those things.
Okay, good. I love that. I love that. That is so aligned with my purpose. Same thing, men and women. I love that. And I want to talk a little bit about how you're doing it now, because I know you are, with the podcast. So I want everybody to know about that. But I need to know, okay, first thing I need to know, I just need to know this. Did they catch the guy that shot you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah. So that situation is, it's been taken care of. It's no big deal.
Okay.
I don't have there's no ill will between, me and that person.
Got you. You weren't friends with him?
Yeah, we were friends.
CARLTON. Y'all were friends?
Mm-hmm.
But y'all weren't there together.
We were in the same place at the same time.
I know y'all was at the same. I know, and I understand you only gonna give certain little things. I get that. I respect that. I'm just saying, did y'all go to this place together, or just somebody that you knew?
We were there together.
God darn it. Okay, so that's gonna come out in your book. So he gonna write a book one day, because he ain't giving all that up, and that's okay, because God may be telling you to hold on to that. But what? Okay, and so now you at the place. Okay, so they were found out, and so you said you forgiven them.
Yeah.
So what made you forgive them?
Counseling and just going through, being able to exercise forgiveness for, even my father, right? Like unforgiveness is like cancer.
Yes, that's so good. Come on.
And it will metastasize and just ruin your life. And I just don't want to, and I got things I need God to do for me, because I'm still a work in progress. I still got things I need forgiveness for. You know what I mean? So I can't be trying to hold a grudge from somebody else and asking God to forgive me.
Yes.
Right. We've all done things that we aren't proud of. We've all made mistakes. And ultimately, what is me holding a grudge against anybody going to do?
Okay, that's good.
It's not going to change them.
That's right. It's not. It's only
they're probably sleeping fine.
Yeah.
I'm the one that is restless, can't sleep,
That's
and
right.
having anxiety
That's
because I'm
right.
thinking
Well,
about the
that's
scenario,
good.
and that person has gone on, moved on with their life.
Well, that's good.
Everybody has to pay for what they do, right? The Bible
Yes.
said everybody's going to have to pay for according to their works.
Yes.
So he's going to have to pay for his life. I'm going to have to pay for mine.
That's so good. That's so good. I always say that you never have to get anybody back because God, the universe is going to do it, right? For every action, there's an opposite and equal reaction.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
can take your hands off of it and be good. Ooh, so that's good. Okay. So then was it then at that moment, like after healing, that the change came for you? Was it then where you decided, okay, I got purpose and this is what this purpose is?
Yeah,
Or had
it
you
was a gradual progression. I started down the path,
okay?
but I still hadn't figured out who I was supposed to be, right?
Mm.
Because sometimes you get, you go through these life-changing scenarios and situations, and they're like a wake-up call. But then you have people that you rely and trust, which was like my grandmama, my family. Boy, the Lord didn't save your life. You better do this, what that. You know what I mean? It's they in your head.
Yes.
And so you're dealing with the aftermath of this traumatic event, not knowing that what you're dealing with, but you're like, okay, maybe they're right. So I started walking down a path, but the path wasn't authentic to me.
Tell me what that path was.
Ministry and all that, but again, that just wasn't authentic to me because I still found myself trying to, mimic and emulate what I had seen or what I was learning, and so it was just never. I was just never able to get myself grounded in what I was supposed to be doing. Again, when you got people, you have to be careful with when people like they know something's in you.
Yes.
But they kind of push you down a certain path.
Yes.
You really have to take time to get in tune with God to understand what your path is.
That's right.
Because if you don't, somebody will send you down the path they think you need to go.
Yes.
And that path is not the path that you need to go.
Yes.
It's like, if I'm gonna come down here, I can go 75, straight 75. I go down 635 here. Abrams come all the way down. So a lot of times people will take you the way they think you need to go.
Right.
And that's not the way you should go.
That's right. And that comes from their stuff, from their story, right?
Yep.
That's what that comes from. But it has nothing to do with you and what God has for you.
Right.
Oh, that's so good. Okay.
Right. Okay. So, again, it's I could say I'm a series of learning experiences that I can share with people if that's what they want to learn. I know that what I went through is not going to resonate for everybody, but I also know that I have a spirit of people that I should influence and I'm supposed to influence because they're going to resonate with my story. So those are the people that I hope to be able to help, for them to navigate their journey and understand you have to go through this thing yourself. You have to figure it out yourself. You have to be who you want to be and be authentic to that, because that is that's how you're going to be able to flourish in life, right?
That's good.
So I was dealing with that, at that time. We really didn't know what PTSD was.
Yes.
And I had PTSD and I didn't know what that was.
Absolutely. You had PTSD.
Dealing with that, right? And I'm doing, so I'm kind of doing this and I'm trying to deal with this. I'm waking up with nightmares, replaying the event in my head. Like I'm literally like suddenly being woken up out of my sleep, dreaming about like the replay of the event. So it was just trying to figure out things. And, I think it's so great what you're doing just as far as mental health with men is concerned. And I would say for anybody, matter of fact, I think the whole Black community has PTSD.
I do too.
And I think everybody needs to go see somebody to deal with their trauma and their demons.
Yes.
And if you can do that, you can really just tap into who you want to be, who you're designed to be, and you can flourish in that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because our trauma holds us back. Yeah. And if we don't kind of clean that out and figure it out, then we'll be really on a life of turmoil and pain consistently and put other people in that, right? Because we'll project our pain onto other people, right? Hurt people.
Exactly. That's the repetitive cycle. And I use the analogy is like when you're pulling up weeds, if you're not careful, you only pull the weed up at the surface. Sometimes you got to dig
Dig
down to the
deep.
root.
Get to the
Get to
root.
the root. If you
That's
pull the root
right.
up, that weed is gone.
That's
But
right.
if you don't get to the root, that weed gonna come back, and it's gonna come back stronger.
Yes.
So you thinking that if you're doing something surface level, you're not really dealing with the issues. Get to the root cause of the issue. Pull it up at the surface all the way to the core, and then you can really start to see your garden grow and flourish.
It's so good. Okay, so now you get out the hospital. You've chosen to forgive at some point, whenever that was. And you've mentioned this several times today, which is amazing. I'm going to get there right now. So you went to therapy. Now, what made you go to therapy? As a Black man, what made you go to therapy? You know, we was raised when we was younger. They said you supposed to pray it away. Or if you go to, anything that had to do with mental health or psychiatry or psychology, then that meant you was crazy. So there was a huge stigma. So I love that. What made you as a Black man decide to go to therapy?
Well, just one, trying to figure out what was wrong with me as far as the incident, when I started understanding what PTSD, post traumatic stress disorder, is, and just hearing more about it and seeing it, and I'm like, maybe I think that might be what's wrong with me, right?
Oh, that's good.
And I couldn't sleep at night. I literally would drink myself to sleep, just so I could not have a dream.
Oh, just so you can be out cold.
Yeah, so I can be out cold, so I wouldn't have to replay that event in my head or deal with like whatever was going on in my head. Because then, if not, I would just sit there and just kind of just go through this abyss of cesspool of bad thoughts. And so I'm like, I got to do something. This ain't working. And then my life was just in turmoil, like, relationships falling apart, life falling apart. Like, it just wasn't, on the outside it looked like everything is cool, but on the inside it's like everything is crumbling. And I was like, I just can't live like this, and I don't want to be like no alcoholic. I don't want to drink myself to death.
Yes.
I don't want to continue to do this. And then just, decisions, that my decision making was horrible. For a grown man, it's like, it's almost embarrassing. So he's like, it's something wrong with me to be doing all these things.
Yes.
And I know better.
Come on now. Yeah, that's so good. So you're like, I need to figure out what this is and the why.
Right. So once I did that, I went through the VA, because, I get disability from the VA.
Yes.
So we went through that process. They gave me a proper diagnosis, PTSD and anxiety. And then, as I did that, then I started saying, well, maybe I need to talk about some of these other things that I dealt with as well. So I started seeking that out as well.
Yes.
Because one thing I don't want to do is just continue to be on that hamster wheel of bad decisions, of bad relationships, of just a bad life, right?
Yes.
And never reaching the potential of who I could be, because I didn't do the work necessary. Like, I couldn't face myself.
Oh, that's so good.
And that's the biggest thing that we have to do as men, is we got to learn to face ourselves. Because here's the thing, I could put on a facade with you, with everybody I meet, but when I'm alone at my house and I'm looking in the mirror, or I'm talking to God, God knows exactly who I am.
Yeah.
He knows exactly what I'm dealing with.
Yes.
And you can't outrun it.
Wow. Which I could see which would make you want to pick up a bottle. Right? Yeah. Because nobody wants to face that pain. Yep. But thank God you was up for the challenge of, I got to do something because this is failing.
Yeah.
And usually that's what change occurs, is when we kind of hit a rock bottom, right? But okay, good, because I was going to ask you that. So you said failed relationships, but you just said I had kids. So now, at what point did you have kids? Like, what? Tell me about that.
So my oldest I had her when I was 26.
Okay.
And then my youngest, I had her. She's 9 going on 10. So it's kind of spaced out. So the twins, the youngest.
Yeah, you mentioned twins.
Yeah. So
okay, come on, give them to us, Carlton. Come on.
You have Alan and Armand. They're the twin boys. They're 23. You have Alexis. She is 27. She lives here. Alan is in the military. He's in Tokyo.
Okay.
Armand, he lives with me. We're working on him.
Okay.
He's going to be amazing, but he just has to find himself.
Okay.
Then I have Addison, and we have Carrington. So that's the mix of kids, and they're good kids. And so I just needed to just be better. Even like some other things I deal with. It's funny, like even repeating as I got to learn more about my biological father. It's funny how you can even repeat those cycles and you don't understand why you're repeating those cycles because you don't know where you are or who you are, but you end up repeating those same cycles, which there's been done in the Bible too. So just even trying to navigate through that, and like, I just don't want to finish that cycle and be that person.
Yes,
So
you want to break the cycle.
yeah, I want to break that curse.
But I'm thinking what you're saying is sometimes we can continue a generational cycle, right? A dysfunctional cycle from a parent that we're not even around, right? Like, okay, this person did this. So you like, okay, so that was my father. He's not my life. So how am I doing the same thing that he's doing and he's not my life? So they call it a nurture or nature, right? Is it just what you were born into, or is it your environment? And it actually is both of those things who shape who we are.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so good.
It's crazy. It's like the DNA passes through you. That DNA and that spirit or that energy passes on through you. And so you wonder, like, why do I do these things? Or why have I made these same mistakes? And again, if you don't know, then you don't understand. But then if you know and you start to like understand, it's like you got to be wise enough and have to have your ears open enough to see and hear what's happening to you and why you're doing it, and then do something about it, right?
Yes.
And that's where it stop talking tough and living weak.
Oh, that's where that came from.
Yeah, that's like, okay, I'm talking this talk. I'm going to do this, but on the background, I'm still repeating these cycles. I'm still walking this path that is low. As some people say, low vibrational. You know what I'm saying? I'm walking this low vibrational path when I really should be up here.
Yes.
Because I have kingdom mindset in me, and I'm a part of the kingdom. And so I'm literally walking way below the parallel that I should be.
Got you. So you made a commitment, and then you were consistent about your decision making. Yeah. That's what it is. That's what change is, right? Is you seeing your worth. And once I see my worth, right? You said, you didn't say I'm a God body, but you said you walking in the kingdom, right? So to me, that represents the same thing. So as a king, then I know that I can commit to anything that I want, right? And so then for my commitment, I honor my commitment, and then I'm consistent about making decisions. And it doesn't mean that we perfect, because sometimes we fall off. However, the goal is to honor my commitment and be consistent with my decision making.
That is 100% accurate. I've heard it said, several times. It's like, I don't want to be David. David slayed Goliath, but he lost to Bathsheba. That vice got him. So we can be out here slaying giants all day,
Lord,
but then our vice can get us and cause so much turmoil on the back end and wreck everything that we're building.
Wow, come on
that
now.
We don't understand it. But if we don't deal with that, like that vice and
coping,
get that
dysfunctional coping strategies, dysfunctional coping skills, numbing, what we call them? I call them maladaptive behaviors, but they just numb your situation. They don't fix it, but they just numb it, distract you.
Exactly. And what I've learned in this process is I really had to renew my neural pathways.
Oh, come
on now.
Because
my neural pathways have been accustomed to me doing things a certain way, which is, the least route of resistance, and it made me feel okay about myself.
Easy.
But so now when you start to renew those neural pathways, that's why the Bible says be transformed by the renewing of your mind. You got to train your mind, and you have to create new neural pathways of how you respond to what's going on in your life. And so what you used to have that flight risk, or you would just, acquiesce to that inner demon. Now I got to conquer that inner demon, and I got to do the thing that I know that I don't want to do in this time in order for me to establish a new neural pathway. So that the more I do this thing, the easier it is for me to bypass the thing that will have me in the ditch.
Oh, that's so good. That's so good. That's good. Yeah. Yeah, that makes me think about Stephen that I did that series with, when he said collecting women for him was easy. He said it was so easy. He said, but then that's when he decided that, like, no, I want to be a man. I want to be a man's man, which means that there's some challenge in that. Yeah. And he said, and that is what changed his life. Yeah, his commitment to that.
Right. Because here's the thing about, like, even if, as far as collecting women, I think a lot of men have been down that path. I've been down that path. And you're the common denominator in that equation. So if you don't deal with you, it's going to be the same thing with every woman. You're going to continue to repeat that cycle. You're going to continue to do the same things over and over. At this point in my life, if I'm not making my wife a better person just by me being there and how I lead, I don't have to tell her what I'm doing. Just lead by example. Then I failed as a man anyway. If I'm not making people around me better, that's not me being a man. That's not me leading. I should be leading and making people better by the actions, right? They say faith should be visible by your actions, what people observe, and what you do in that form. So what you believe in, people should be able to see it. You should believe it, and it should produce fruit if it's something positive.
All right.
So if I'm not doing those things, like, that's kind of like where I talk about the Genesis 1:28 model and mindset.
Yeah.
So basically, that's how I base my life and write. I'm going to write a book about this too one day.
Okay, please.
And it's going to be a series of teaching. I believe that I'm going to be able to teach men, right? So as men and even women, like, just as people, we have to get back to this point where we are fruitful, we multiply, we subdue, we have dominion.
All right.
So if you do those 4 things every day, if you're intentional about being fruitful with what God has given you, that's not talking about just having children.
Right.
That's talking about with the knowledge God has given you.
Yes.
You be fruitful and you plant the seeds. Those seeds are going to multiply. When you multiply it, it's going to spread, right? The more you, the bigger the bigger the number you multiply, the bigger the number. And then when you subdue, that means that you had to subdue yourself. You had to subdue the enemy, not the enemy, the enemy.
I got it.
What is tripping you up? Like, whatever it's your imposter syndrome, if it is your lack of confidence in yourself, if it is your how you were brought up and you're using it as a crutch, you have to subdue all that stuff to become a better version of you. And then you have to dominate whatever your lane you're in life and what you're trying to do, and just have dominion over that. And that really just means lead. You have to lead in what you're doing, and you have to operate and move in a spirit of excellence in everything that you do. And I believe that if we do those 4 things daily, like religiously, like, we will see a change in our life, because that's what I've been doing over the past 2 years, is making sure I've been just being fruitful, multiplying, subduing, and have dominion over Carlton, what I can control.
I love that. Okay, so you say your wife. Okay, so then at what point did you get married? Did you choose to get married?
We got married 2018.
Okay.
2018. We got married 2018.
Okay.
We were together for a couple of years. We broke up for a year. We got back together. And we're growing.
Okay.
Growing.
That's right.
So we've been married 5 years now.
Okay, nice. Yeah. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
She's a great woman. She's beautiful. She's smart. She's intelligent.
Love it.
I'm proud of her, and it's been a journey for both of us, because we both had to grow, and you both come from backgrounds and you don't realize it, that's what attracts you to each other.
That's right. Oh, that's so good. Keep going.
And then so when you're seeing the manifestation of what you've attracted, you're like, man, this is me, a mirror of me.
It's always a mirror of you. That's right. And your stuff. That's so good.
And then so you start, once you wake up and smell the coffee, as they say, and you realize, like, I can't continue to do this, or she says, I can't continue to do this, and we have to progress. And so that's what, that's our main thing, is just progressing and getting 1% better than we were the day before.
I love it. I love it. Okay. So now tell everybody how they can find you and what it is that you're doing now. So I know one of the things are, because I know that's a part of your goal and the purpose for being, right? That's why God brought you through all those things to this moment. So you have a podcast. Okay. So tell us about the podcast so people can.
So we have, I have 2 podcasts.
Okay.
One is called the Elevated Mindset Podcast. That's me and my little, I call him my little brother. Okay. His name is Kevin Lee. He goes by Kevin Empowers. So we talk about the elevation of mind, body, and soul, and we talk about it from a seasoned perspective and a young perspective. Kevin is in his early mid-20s.
Okay.
I'm in my just hit my 50s.
Okay.
So we cover the gamut. So it's from 18 to hopefully 70 years old. We can catch men in that space. So again, that's the Elevated Mindset Podcast. You can follow it on any streaming platform.
Okay.
Apple, Spotify, YouTube, the whole nine. Then we also have my podcast is called The Genesis, The Renaissance of Manhood.
Okay.
And so that's what we're delving into Genesis 1 and 28, and we're breaking down those principles and trying to set a basis where we get back to the beginning and how it was originally intended to be, so we can grow as men and impact our families, our communities, our jobs, our the world. We're all called to discipleship in some way, form, or fashion. And my thing is right now is the marketplace. I call it a marketplace ministry.
Okay.
Which is not the four walls of the church. Everybody thinks I have a calling on my life, I have to go to church. No, you can do it anywhere you are.
Yes.
So I'm trying to build that discipleship of Christ through the podcast. Okay. So the Genesis podcast, the Elevated Mindset podcast are two of my platforms.
Okay. And I'll make sure that I put those down under the podcast. Okay. So is there something else that you want to say before I kind of ask you these last questions?
No, I just want to tell everybody hopefully something that you heard in this podcast will pique you and push you towards dealing with what you have to deal with in order for you to get who you are supposed to be. Because I say this all the time. If we don't reach our potential, we're living way beneath our privileges. And there's so many things that God has designed for you to have in this life. And don't look at me and say, well, that's you. I can't do that. I'm no better than you. I'm no greater than you. I'm just a person who realized who I am, whose I am, and why I'm here. And I decided to do something about it. Do not give anybody the power to dictate how your life should turn out. You take control of that and relish in that and understand that you are fearfully and wonderfully made.
I love it. It's so good. It's so dope. Okay, wait, but I gotta just ask you this, this, and then we done. So, I want to ask you, if you could tell your younger self something, what would it be?
If I could tell my younger self something, it would be to reverse engineer the decisions I made in my life. I start with the end in mind and then make my decisions based on where I wanted to go. And to understand that sometimes you're not meant to fit in. So relish in who God has made you to be, because that is actually your gift and your superpower.
Oh, that's so good. Sometimes you're not meant to fit in, right? That's your superpower.
Right.
Yes.
Because that is so going to be what God is going to use to get his message out to the masses.
Which is what's going on right now with you. I love it. Okay. What is something that you believe every man should know about life?
What I believe that every man should know about life, that life is not about you.
Oh.
And that you have an assignment on your life, and you need to spend time determining what that assignment is so you can fulfill it.
Okay, that is freaking awesome. All right, I love it. I love it because I agree. Love it. Okay. If you could encourage men to change one thing, what would it be?
Let's see. The one thing that I would encourage men to change is the thought process that you have to be invincible and you have to be tough and you have to be macho. You have to learn to deal with the feelings that are going on inside of your mind, because they're real and you're experiencing them for a reason. And so this mindset and this pride that you have to be, superhero and you have to be King Kong is really slowly killing you, because you never deal with that that needs to be dealt with, and you never face your demons. So I would say, just let the pride go, let the machoism go, and just seek help. Like, it takes a strong man to seek help.
So good, Carlton. That's so good. All right, this is the last one. Okay. Do you believe that every man has the ability to transform?
Yes, I do. It's up to you, though, right? And you have to face, again, it goes back to facing your issues and understanding that you can be better. And that's if you want to be better, right? Your present state is not your end state. The only way it's your end state is if you allow it. So I think everybody has the capacity to grow, because look at it this way: anything not growing is dying. So if you're not growing, you're just slowly dying. And you don't want to be a person that lives for 80 years, but you die when you were 21. And you're just a walking zombie. You're just a walking dead. And that's what happens when you don't understand that you have the capacity to grow, and it's imperative that you grow. Because if you're still doing the same things, like if I'm still doing the same, they say a person changes every 10 years. So if I'm still doing the same things I was doing 10 years ago, I failed as a man.
Wow.
So you should be growing, and you should be ever evolving. Everything grows, everything evolves. And there's always seasons in life, right? There's winter, there's spring, there's summer, there's fall. That's for a reason, so that the earth can evolve. So you have to go through those seasons as a man yourself, so you can evolve and become the highest form of yourself and the divine form of yourself. So you can I say this to anybody: the desires that you have in your heart,
yes,
they're there for a reason. The dreams that you see in your mind, God placed them in there for a reason. It's like a preview to a movie of your life. You just have to do the work to win the role and let the movie play out.
Listen, I'm gonna leave it right there. Because it's everything I be saying. You said it, Carlton. Thank you. This has been a pleasure. Like, oh, I'm so excited. I'm so excited as to what this is going to do. I am already claiming it. I'm already claiming it. So thank you for coming and joining me. Yes, on the Mental Health is a Lifestyle podcast. So I'll see you, family. I ain't saying nothing else. That was it. Bomb drop, mic drop, everything drop. So y'all know, get up, do what you gotta do. You can transform. I love it. Don't you walk around here like a zombie.
That's right.
I know that's right.
Okay. Make sure y'all tune into her podcast.
Yes, my podcast and your podcast. Tell them one more time.
The Elevated Mindset Podcast and the Genesis. You share, like, and follow all three of them, because we are going to be the spark that changes the world.
I love it, love it, love it. All right, family. I will see you guys on the next episode of the Mental Health is a Lifestyle podcast. Bye.